So when you free yourself from religious dogma, people who are stuck in their dogma have all kinds of tactics to use against you. Hey guys, it's John sitting here in my living room drinking a fabulous mug of John's Show coffee. So good, so good. If you love coffee or fresh loose leaf teas and you like the John of New content and you want to support your love of coffee and tea and John of New, then make sure you get your coffee and tea from John's Show. The link is in the description below. I wanted to hop on because it's been a wonderful holiday, Christmas holiday, and I'm really excited about where the future is going right now. One of the things that happened in my personal journey is when I released my dogmas, both New Age and old, the people who were very invested in those dogmas became very defensive. And one of the things that happens is they come up with various tactics they use to try to sway you back to their belief. And I think it's important to understand what some of these tactics are, because these tactics are all about subjugation and fear and making you feel less than. And I don't think that anyone has the right to make you feel less than. I think we're all part of God, and there's no part of God less worthy than any other. And what these tactics are literally just methods of trying to shame you into their faith. And I want to point it out, because when you understand what the tactics are and you can start to recognize them in real time, you can start to release your attachment to the response that they're trying to elicit. So yesterday I had a comment. A guy said, "Well, John, you said you lost yourself in your marriages, but have you ever surrendered yourself to God?" And I'm very aware of this ploy, because that's what it is. It's a ploy. It's a ploy to get me into a back and forth debate about God. And number one, if you truly feel that you are confident in your faith, you never need to debate your faith. And I never feel the need to debate or argue my faith, because I believe it. There's no reason. I'm very confident in my faith. It has worked out tremendously well for me. And so for me personally, my faith works for me. If their faith works for them, great. But what this person was trying to do was trying to goad me into a debate so that he could make points from the data that he's collecting from his Bible. So what I said was, I don't believe that I'm subjugated to God, as your comment suggests. And his response to that comment was, so the answer is no. And this is the first tactic I want to pull out. People will start to tell you what your answers are. People will start to tell you what you believe. People will start to tell you that you are believing certain things just so they can make their argument. I never said anything like what he said. I never answered his question in any way. And I, honest to God, I don't in any way, shape, or form subjugate myself to a God that I know that I'm one with, and that Jeshua himself said I'm one with, and Buddha said I'm one with. We're all in oneness, right? So this person was trying to argue their Christian perspective against my non-duality. And I understood what he was doing. And I was very clear about what was happening. That's why I responded the way I did, saying, your comment suggests that I'm to be subjugated to a God. And it wasn't an attack on him. It was a statement about what he said. And he came back with, your answer is no. No, that was not my answer. My answer was, I don't believe I'm subjugated to a God. And I think the concept of surrendering to God, for me personally, makes no sense. Because if I'm one with God, I'm going to surrender to myself. I don't believe in the duality of a God and myself. I believe you're part of God. I believe I'm part of God. I'm not asking you to believe me. As I say often on this channel, this is me speaking my truth. My truth has worked out very, very well for me. And I don't feel the need to debate it. So the first tactic is people will start to answer for you. And that tactic itself is not about your faith. It's about them making their argument. That's the first thing. The second one is actually a really interesting one to me because they ask my opinion or what do I believe, and I say what I believe. And one person yesterday said, "So you've decided to live a life in sin?" So what they've done is I've said, "No, I believe I'm one with God. I believe that I'm living love." And I said, I've never said anything about sin. I don't believe in sin. So this person has framed it into you've chosen to live a life of sin. From their ideology, from their theology, they've decided Christianity is the only way, and that sin itself is some um, force of negativity that I'm choosing to live in. Well, if I'm living in sin, then my joyful life is must be a terrible hell, right? My happy, joyful, loving life, my surrounded by people I love who love me in return, my watching people take the information I've given them about their own power within and watch people heal themselves. You know, but the argument is, the tactic is to start to say, you have chosen to do something. You are being led astray by Satan or demons, or it's a demon speaking through you. They're trying to frame anything different than their ideology as something demonic. Well, think about this. Hell is a uniquely Christian construct. And to believe in a hell absolutely means that you have to be a Christian, because the hell is a uniquely Christian construct. The Christian interpretation of Satan and demons and living in sin, those are all uniquely Christian constructs. They are coming from their Christian perspective, and they are creating a model around you being different as something evil or bad. I don't believe in the evil or bad. I don't kill because it's not loving. I don't steal because it's not loving. I don't covet my neighbor's wife because it's not loving. I follow the one commandment that Joshua left, which is love one another. But these tactics that they use are specific to attack something that is different from their beliefs. They're trying to prove themselves right. So when you're going out there and you're exploring your own spirituality and you're finding a beautiful, loving life, and someone comes along and tells you that you're evil for doing it, understand it's their issue, not yours. Tactic number 3: they will start to quote Bible passages, and they'll start to use the Bible as a univocal and infallible text. Well, no scholars agree that that's univocal or infallible. Anybody who's studied the Bible knows that it wasn't even compiled to the 4th century. The texts that are written, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, those are all written by Greco-Roman Christians 70 to 200 years later. They're not written by the original people. There are constructs of ideas that were passed down orally, and they were also constructs of earlier pieces and fragments of text, but they are not it's not a univocal document. If it were a univocal infallible document, then there wouldn't be so many inconsistencies in it. I mean, just the basic one I talk about frequently. There's 2 versions of Judas's death, and they're completely different. There's 3 versions of the walking on water story. They're completely different. God is vengeful and jealous, and God is love. There's too many conflicts in the idea. But what they do is they lean into one specific passage as the truth. And then they come at you and they say, well, see, you believe this, 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 and this. Recently, in the past few years, Doreen Virtue had her awakening to being a Jehovah's Witness, or whatever kind of Christian she is. And she leaned in heavily into Leviticus. The divination tools are demonic. She leaned into that. But you look at the story of Joshua with the Samaritan woman at the well, he gives her a psychic reading at the well. He tells her everything she ever did. I've had some very gifted people tell me about my entire life, year by year, and I verified it with my sisters and brothers. So I know full well that people are using the source text to embolden their argument against you. But the source text itself is not something to be trusted. So when you look at people coming at you and they're trying to hit you with these tactics to get you to lean into their faith or to shame you back to their faith or to tell you that you're doing the devil's work, understand in their own book, the book of Matthew, you'll know them by their fruit. If they're trying to shame you, if they're trying to guilt you, if they're trying to subjugate you, that's the fruit they're bearing. You stay loving. You follow your heart. You follow the love in your heart. You treat people with loving kindness. You live a loving life. They're not. Remember, these tactics, these speaking for you, these pulling out Bible quotes to show you how bad you are or that you have to believe as they do. Understand, 70% of the world are not Christian. They're only arguing against most of the world. And so when you look at these people coming at you, don't take them to heart. The first thing you do is exhale and understand they're coming from their point of view, trying to sway you to a fear-based God that subjugates you to his will. And I don't believe that's what God is. And I will say that my experiences in life have been fantastic because I don't believe that. And so that's my thought on this. You guys go out there, just live a loving life. And when anybody tries to sway you away from living a loving life, you don't have to take it. You don't have to let them. But when you recognize what they're doing, it makes it easier to let it go. Exhale and live a loving life. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.